Hey, this is Decade here with some big updates to the Duel Links meta website. There are 4 big changes to the website. Top Decks section has completely changed. I added a box tier list, I added a gem guide which tells you how to spend your gems, and I added a farming section to the website. And on the home page here to the right, you'll be able to see when the last time each section was updated. I'm going to start off by giving you a quick preview of each change before I go into them deeper. The Top Decks section of the site will have 4 main tabs. The first tab will be Best Decks, the second tab will be Competitive Decks, the third tab will be Tournament Decks, and the fourth tab will be Fun Decks from Reddit, YouTube, or other decks. Anything that catches my attention I'll put up on here. And this is the box set tier list. In the box set tier list I'll be rating every card from 0 to 5. Here's a quick little preview. Now onto the gem guide. In the gem guide I will tell you how to optimally spend your gems using a flowchart. Here's a quick little preview. While nothing major changed with the new player guide, I wanted to add it under the update section to show that I am committed to keeping that updated for new players to become competitive in Duel Links. Then finally, here's the farm section preview of the site. Basically, my main focus of the farming guide of the site is to verify methods from other sources to ensure that they are consistent, and to make sure they're not just a quick grab for views. With that said, the main source of most of these guides is Rurishin's YouTube. Now that you got a quick preview of each section, I'm going to dive in deeper to each one of them. I have the KC Cup as a separate section under the Top Decks, which will be updated once the new KC Cup comes. So the Top Decks has 4 different categories. Above each category will be a date when the last time I updated it. The Best Decks category has the decks listed in order from which is best to worst. At first we have Relinquished, second we have Harpies, and third we have Switcheroo Gravekeepers. And here's the Competitive Deck section. These are decks that you should be able to get King of Games with. Just because a random person was able to achieve King of Games with a random deck does not mean it is now a competitive deck. In order for it to be a competitive deck, you should be able to hand the deck to an averagely competitive player and they should be able to get King of Games with it. Also, surprise factor is a major factor for why many random decks will achieve King of Games, because many of their opponents have never played that deck before and they will make many mistakes. And then we have tournament decks. Right now, as far as I know, the only tournaments going on are the Reddit weekly tournaments, and there's a Vietnam championship that seems to be happening once a month. As long as they have a decent turnout and have some sort of a prize, you can expect me to be reporting on it. And this is where you'll see Reddit, YouTube, or other decks. Any decks that catch my attention. You can achieve King of Games with these decks, but it will not be as easy as a competitive deck or a best deck. Now on to the box set tier list. It is very important for the box set tier list that you pay attention to the ratings that I have set here. Because a card rated 1 out of 5 does not mean it is a bad card. It is a card you may see in the future. It has potential. It's not used in a competitive deck, but it has potential. Also, a 2 out of 5 is not a bad card. It is a card that you may see in a competitive deck. All that means is that it's not a staple in a competitive deck. Here's a quick preview of the Chaotic Compliance set. Expect Magic Drain to make an impact as it counters the most powerful cards from the best decks. Gemini has potential, so I'm keeping most of the Gemini cards at 2 out of 5 until they prove themselves as a competitive deck beyond people losing to Surprise Factor. As you can see from the 1 out of 5 list, this set is full of future potential. Now onto the Wonders of the Sky box set. This box set further solidified Harpies as one of the best decks as it gave it 2 staple cards. Valkyrie's Rage gave us Soul Exchange, which put Gravekeepers into the best deck category. This set is also home to the current highest attack normal monster, which makes Order to Charge even better. The set also gave us Skull Lair and Wild Tornado. Flame of Tyrant gave us Possessed Dark Soul, which is a great Relinquished, Sonic Duck, Jerry Beansman, and Venus counter. This set also gave us two great competitive deck cards, Venus and Sergeant Electro. Now finally onto the Neo Impact set. This set pushed Relinquished into the best deck with the introduction of Senju. This set also gave us Mirror Wall. Basically, the whole meta right now is defined around how well your deck does against Mirror Wall. Now onto the Gem Guide. Gem Guide's priority is building the best deck possible for you that you can reach Platinum easily with, or King of Games with enough skill and luck. My free-to-play recommendation is that you have a deck that can at least achieve King of Games. Once you have that, there's no need to spend further gems improving that deck or making a better one. Then, my number 2 recommendation is spend gems for only an important tournament or a KC Cup. This is the only time I would recommend a free-to-play player to spend gems beyond being able to achieve King of Games. Before we head off into the flowchart, I have relevant counter cards for the current meta right now. We have Magic Drain, Wild Tornado, Skull Lair, and Possessed Dark Soul. All 4 are great counters that you can get with gems. Because this is a gem guide, you won't see a card like 4-star Ladybug here because you can no longer get that card from gems, even though it is a great counter card too. So at the start of the flowchart, we attempt to build the best deck at the moment, which is Relinquished. So the question is, do you own 3 Sonic Bird and 2 Relinquished, both which are not available right now? If you don't, you move on to the next question. Next question is, do you own 2 to 3 Order to Charge, which are not available? If you do, then the best deck you can build is Harpies. If no, we move on to the next question. Next is, do you own all these Gravekeeper cards? If you do, you're going to want to build a Gravekeeper deck by getting Soul Exchange. If you've been getting unlucky with the farm and you don't own these cards, then just move on to the next question. By the time you get to number 4, because you said no to 1, 2, and 3, it's established that you cannot build optimally one of the best decks. That's okay, you could still achieve King of Games and do well with a competitive deck. The best deck you could build at this point would be a Harpy deck without Order to Charge. So you're going to want Birdface, and without Order to Charge, 3 Birdface becomes even more important towards building a really good deck. And here I have replacement cards for Order to Charge. Now if you don't want to go with option 4, we could move on to the next option. Next option 5 are the most viable decks with no investment needed beyond only getting rares or legendary duelist drops. Then at the end of the gem guide, it just shows links to the top decks and the box set tier list. And now on to the farming guide. As I said earlier, the farming guide is just me confirming from other sources good methods to farm each character. Most of the farming methods are from the YouTuber Ruroshin. Here I have the math listed on when you should fight a level 30 versus a level 40. Basically, if you can get an 8k score on a level 30 and only a 6k score on a level 40, you want to be farming the level 30. And this is a quick reference onto how the score system works. Here's a quick preview of a few of the farming guides, starting with skill farming. And that's it for all the big new features of DuelLinksMeta.com I've added. If you want, I've added an optional way to help support DuelLinksMeta.com through Patreon. Through Patreon, you can give me $1 or more and it will give you exclusive access to a Discord channel I've made for Duel Links Meta. All money from this Patreon will be strictly used to support my ability to provide competitive content for Duel Links. I'd like to thank you all for the support you've been giving me on DuelLinksMeta.com. I will continue to be providing competitive content and updates through my website and YouTube, so make sure you keep checking back for more.